in conjunction with the Pedagogy Library, will be hosting 4 sessions of Asian brush painting in May, taught by our amazing instructor, Henry Lee. And the registration link is available. I am going to put the registration link in the chat so that you could copy and register first before I announce it by email to other people. Okay, thank you very much. Henry, it's all yours.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you.
I am going to mute everybody. Sorry. 1 second.
Thanks, everybody, for participating and continuing with this wonderful class. I'm very honored to sign the contract today to continue a new series, actually, in May for Asian Heritage Month, mainly on the flower and the birds painting. So if you're interested, please continue to register. It should be available for registers later today, I assume. So this is the 6th of our home memory of home class, and today we're going to study Lingnan Art School, or Lingnan Pai in Chinese, Lingnan School of Chinese brush painting. I would like to talk about briefly the history of this very influential art movement in modern China and throughout the overseas Chinese community, and even very popular among Western audience and art lovers, artists. So Lingnan is a very hot term in contemporary art history, especially Asian brush painting. It started by 2 brothers. Let me show you some books I have. I try to be brief, but I think it's very important. I already sent you a introduction in the email, and there's a tree of what do you call lineage, artist lineage. So the founder of 3 masters, Gao Qifeng, Gao Jianfu, and Chen Shuren. Gao Jianfu, Chen Shuren, and Gao Qifeng. The spelling may be different. This is the old Wijia system. Anyway, so all of the founders have went to Japan to study new Japanese art, Nihonga, or Western painting, with second hand through the Japanese art schools. So this book by Michael Sullivan, it's an art history of China, has a page on this, and you can see the one example here is by Gao Qifeng, the younger brother, I think. Anyway, you can see the perspective is more realistic, why they kept the ink as essence and brush strokes.
I am very sorry to interrupt you, Henry. I don't think you are sharing screen. We are unable to see you right now.
Oh, can you see my table? Can you see my table? Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, so there's no video? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's me. It's my My mistake. I need to do that. Apologies, everyone. It was my fault. I was not attending to that. Thank you.
It's on YouTube. It's okay on YouTube. If you missed
Yes.
any pictures, you can review. So I'm not going to repeat. Okay, so basically, they combined, fused the Western and the Eastern art. So you can paint some scenes you see in daily life, like this park or a bridge, with perspective. You see the building has this one-point perspective view. It's more realistic, and the tree in the front is taller than the bridge, which you won't see in traditional landscape painting. Incidentally, this artist on the right is by Qu Beihong. He born in the same period, but he first of all he went to school run by the founders of Lingnan in Shanghai, and then he went to France to study oil painting. When he returned to China, he continued with the Chinese medium brush and with Western perspective, also some color and the shading techniques. So even for this master, Xu Beihong, his early education was inspired by also the Lingnan masters by the Gao brothers. So let me just go through this. It's a magazine dedicated to the Canton School or Lingnan School, Lingnan School. Let me just show you some paintings by them. This is the Gao Qifeng, the one of the brothers, and their youngest brother. So actually, there are more than two brothers, and some other. This is Gao Jianfu, the younger brother. So you can see the use of white paints is very, very characteristic against the colored background, which is not often painted in classical painting. We don't paint the background, but like this. This is black-white, but you can see it's more realistic, right? And I want to show Chen Shuren. He also studied in Japan twice. I think graduated from Kyoto Fine Arts School. He does. This is a Great Wall, I guess. Yeah, and but he has fewer followers. The second generation of masters is more well known today by this led by this artist named Zhao Shaoang. In mainland China, there are Guan Sanyue, Li Xiongcai, and Fang Rending, as you can see in the chart here. But Zhao Shaoang was in Hong Kong. He taught. Let me show you some painting before I go on. So you can see right now here is a painting by Zhao Shaoang, the second generation master in Hong Kong. He taught many students for many decades throughout the world. They scattered in Europe, in North America, Taiwan especially. I will talk about his most prominent student, Hao Nian. That's what we will study. But I want to show you his teacher's painting first. And you can see the colored background with the white highlight, right? And some he does, this kind of bird. I think everybody recognizes that as Lingnan School. Right? This kind of characteristic with a very personalized style. That's Zhao Shaoang. Okay, Zhao Shaoang. Spell is sometimes differently. CH instead of ZHAO, the last name. Shao is the same, SHAO. And An in Cantonese, AN. In Mandarin has a G in the end. Zhao Shaoang. Zhao Shaoang. Anyway. This painting, look at is a depiction of his trip in Emei, the mountain in Sichuan. But he does very similar to the Grand Canyon painting we're going to do, like a foreground and then the distance. But you can see from very bottom of the mountain all the way to the peak. So this kind of landscape is imaginary, but it's from real traveling experience. And we'll talk about that more. So basically, you cannot find a viewpoint, but sometimes it does. Like this one, depicting a specific scenery in Guilin, Xiangbishan, the elephant trunk rock. There's like a crescent moon hole there, and there's some. You can see the distance. The focal point is in the distance, and there is a reflection. It's very Western style, but in the foreground, a very large tree, but not blocking the view, unlike the Western watercolor. And there's a relatively larger boat in the front, in the foreground. So it has the perspective, realistic perspective with Chinese brushwork. That's the composition of Lingnan. And we will talk about color. They use gouache a lot, and very vibrant colors. Red, green, and blues. All that. Okay, that's Zhao Chuan. Personally, I was introduced to this style while I was in Nanjing, just before I come to the States. I met this lady, Susan Ho Fengnian. She went to Nanjing to have an exhibition, I think, of his teacher and her own, and we met in the provincial gallery. This book was actually we introduced each other by a middle friend. His name is Barry Tail. Barry was my classmate in early 80s, late 70s, I would say. You know my age now. So we studied in Nanjing University History Department. He was under the supervisor of the same professor as me, and I remember that he was written a book on the cultural ruins of Nanjing, the old capital of 6 dynasties. That's my major actually, and he wrote a book in search of old Nanking. As his graduate dissertation, or I think thesis. Yeah. Then he went back to Canada in Victoria. We also met there when I was in Seattle, and so this book was forwarded, by Perry, this lady's painting book, and so I this is my first time I saw this kind of vibrant landscape painting, and I was certainly influenced because it's so familiar with my own training in Fubaoshi Nanjing School's landscape, because Fubaoshi also studied in Japan, so they both have been influenced by modern Japanese painting. I emphasize on the atmospheric wash, the wet wash, but with bone in ink structure. You can see this is very typical. So her style is more close to Zhao Chuan, the second generation. Then Professor Oh Hao Nin is also a student of Zhao Chuan, maybe classmate. Oh, actually, he studied in early 50s. So Susan studied in 70s. So they are not in the same classroom. So O was the most important leader in the third generation of Lingnan artists, and he still living in Taiwan, I think, at the late 80s. He was born in 35, I think. This book was recommended by a student of mine in 2015 in my online class, and she copied. Her name is Wayne in Maine. Thank Wayne for pushing me to do this, because it's a really a masterpiece. So she did a study of this painting in my class, and then it recommended the source of it. So I bought this book just a few months ago for my master study class on Chinese landscape painting. However, this would be the first class on a living master in that series. So, but I would think he deserves that to be, together compared to the ancient masters. So he, O Hao Nian is the name. O Hao Nian in Mandarin. I don't know how to pronounce it in Cantonese, must be. So he was Cantonese, and he taught in many decades in Taiwan. So he brought this school into Taiwan, become a characteristic of Taiwanese painting, I guess, after Huang Junbi. Huang Junbi was also a Cantonese, but he won't call himself Lingnan School, though. Anyway, Huang Junbi was my teacher's teacher, by the way. So both O Hao Nian and Huang Junbi are founders of the modern, their students are the active masters in Taiwan these days. Anyway, so we're going to study this, but let me describe the process of this kind of painting. I call it traveling, memory from traveling. It's called this series, Memory of Home. But now I try to broaden that. I wish it's okay with Yongler. So we'll try to paint the memories of landmarks in our home country or this country. So first of all, let me show you my experience of traveling for this subject matter. Okay. Here's an album at that time we don't have a digital photograph, so everything is on film, and I did lots of slides too. I lived in Colorado in 1996 to 7, and then we got after I got a new job in LA on internet as a webmaster. I already gave up academic life. I was an internet developer in Colorado Springs for a company called USA.net. I designed icons for the website. Anyway, so after I got this job in LA, we drove for 10 days through from the southern Utah, crossing Colorado, Utah, and Arizona to the West Coast. And here's my car in the Victoria there, and you can see the along the way it's like a Mars, in Utah, right? Not much traffic, no traffic. Sometimes we only see a few cars a day. This is the Grand Canyon here. Here's the Grand Canyon, and some other national parks along the way, like the Arches, Capitol Reef, that kind of places. And here's another shot of the Grand Canyon, Victoria Arches, I think. and then this is Pacific Ocean, and some other canyons in Colorado. We traveled very colorful mountains in Colorado. Yeah. This is the national park and archaeology site called the Mesa Verde. It's a cliff house with the arches. I'll go very fast. Okay. So, but this kind of color, it's what I was so impressed. And then we will see how Professor Au does this kind of national parks when he come back. He rarely paint on site. I did some sketches, but many in this trip I don't have time to do painting. We just took photographs. And we see some dramatic skies on the way, like rainbow after a storm. This is Zion Canyon, another national park in Utah, right? And this is the Grand Canyon. So nice. The river actually very small. My favorite place is Sedona. Later, after this first trip, we went back to Sedona and Grand Canyon for many times with my brother, my parents, my friends. We just love it. This is Sedona. Okay. So when we paint, we also need to study how the artist, the master, does this. Here's another exhibition catalog by my friend, classmate Perry Tail in Canada. He's the curator of Victoria's Gallery of Greater Victoria in Canada. And this book has some interesting paintings, like this is the Bryce Canyon we just saw in the picture, and I didn't mark it. Let's see if I can find that. Some color plates with here's a painting of the I think Italy, Rome ruins. Right, you can see how realistic the Chinese landscape painting became in the Lingnan school. Here's the Bryce Canyon, Zion or Bryce. Yeah. One thing I noticed that even it's very colorful, the ink is still dominant, covering the colors, and the color are not so strong like the teachers might use. Zhao Chang is really more stronger. I like his subdued colors actually, although it's very contrast with each other, like the blues and green and the browns, but not so strong as to the point like the flower and the birds painting. This is landscape painting, right? So just remember that when we come to coloring. Anyway, but it's very, very colorful compared to other schools or ancient styles. So here's my study after his. Let me change to the sample so we can start to do some. Okay, this is the original painting. Here I can show you a big piece. I sent you the handout earlier, so you can print that out if you like. I'll just bring another screen. I'll put this on the corner here. So we will start with some. I'll do some small thumbnail, and then we will do black and white in ink, and then we'll color it. Okay. And the paper we're going to use is semi-sized Sean. He would use mulberry paper. Either one should be fine. Semi-sized Sean is what I use here. I found this more comfortable. You can use mulberry paper as well. The Japanese paper might be too weak for washing. It might torn easily. Okay. The brush we're going to use just the basic brushes. The 3 brushes supplied by the library should be fine. The basic stick brush for outlining, a wash brush, large soft brush, and a detail brush for little things like the artist, plein air artist on the corner. And I'll use this medium brush to do the to do some composition study. I'll call it no-tan. In Japanese, they call it no-tan or black-white. We just use pure ink, and you can draw approximately the triangle. I mean, not triangle, the rectangular shape of the paper that you are going to use. It could be a little broader than the original. This is like a long strip. It's a traditional format, like this long. We can cut it a little off on the bottom, maybe a little on the top. And you can squeeze the middle part a little bit, maybe. So let me just make sure I do small ones to begin with. Let me just do like a quarter size paper so I don't pinch too big. So just draw this proportionally, like 1, 2. Let me see. It's hard to estimate. So this is a little bit, maybe 1 squared plus 1.
Henry, could you please move your camera a little bit so that your draft is more visible? Right now we're seeing your paper, but we're not seeing your draft.
Okay, so now you can see. I can see better. No. Okay.
Okay. Do we need to see your draft or just what you're drawing?
Oh, you want to see my drawing? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If you want to, you want to. I tried to copy the original today.
Okay.
So yeah, here. Let me see. Yeah, I just put the original here. So when we try to, we don't copy the photograph first. We try to copy a painting first. Then when we see the photograph, we know what to exaggerate, what to change, to simplify. Because if you start with a photograph, you will be limited to what you see with your eyes. Your imagination is not free. But when we try to study a masterpiece like this, you won't find this place in nature, right? So that's why we need to study the principles of composition first. So in Chinese painting, the first thing we consider is the major. We call it major and minor relationship, or host and guest, if you will. So if there are two cliffs here, we need to decide which one is the host and which one is the guest. Usually the host is larger, so major equals to large. Okay, so we do a large one first, but not necessarily the tall one. So this one might be a little taller than the major one. So another indication of which one is major is that it has more details. Can you tell which one is more detailed, left and right?
Is it the right side more detailed because there are bushes and trees on top?
Yes, that's right. It's a good answer. Bushes and that's mainly the difference. This one has bushes. This one may have a little bit vegetation, just a little dots hanging on the cliff. That's all, and some little vegetation on this side, maybe just that's all it is. So this side has more details, and but they are okay. Here's the um, the point I try to make. The foreground in Chinese painting is not always the focus. Okay, so they might be darkest or largest, but they are not the focus. The focus is everywhere. Could be a focus, but I think in this painting, the focus point is the figure. Always, it's a very small, tiny dot there, so you can just put a dot there for now. You can put it on the, like a third from the left, something like that, or I put a little lower, but you can always enlarge the frame. You can enlarge it. You can change it at this point, no problem. So so I'm going to just blocking out the main plans, okay, of this composition. Do you see the negative shape here? That negative space, that little V, long V shape, right? The opening of this, and with some jagged edge along the cliff. So I want to keep this in mind. When you draw little rocks, doesn't matter. You have to make this shape look nice. So they are not. Let me make some mistakes earlier. So for you, so if you try to draw this, you'll make mistakes before you do the final work. So if you just paint like that, straight down, it will work. I won't say it's not a good painting, but less interesting than you vary this. I still have some variation. If you the worst thing you can do is to put this two sides equally. It could be. Believe it or not, I have a friend in Chicago. He's contemporary landscape painter, and his impression of a Grand Canyon is just like that. Let me show you what this could be. Just two cliff, and it's in red. He used red. He used the red color. His name is Yang Yuanwei, Professor Yang. And something. It's not a waterfall. It should be a river in between. And then just put a dot on one side. So that is his impression of the Grand Canyon. So that could work, but not in this. So just to let you compare to this Lingnan School master painting. So this basically is in dark. You can just wash it with some grays. So for now, we just consider black and white. So I want to really show you the difference. Okay. So now I'm going to draw the river, the Colorado River in that. It's a S shape, right? Or Z kind of. So you can you don't paint the river. You paint the bank of the river and leave the river in white, right? So you can paint the you can start from the ridge of the the top of the cliff if you like, and then just define the edge later. So you can on this side there's notice that that diagonal line there. Okay, so this side repeats that structural tendency. It's diagonal in the distance also. Okay, this is diagonal. And this was more straight on this left side, right? So this, but with a little bit diagonal also. And then you vary the okay, that's about it. I'll simplify it into 3, but later when we have space, we'll do more. And here is the dead end. It's not dead end. It's just a turning point where the river ends. So you might think it's a horizon. I don't know if it's a horizon or not. Horizon could be outside the frame usually. So this is and we should, right now I'm just using gray. Later we'll use very light ink. So this is the horizon. I think it's about this same level of this cliff, but a little lower could be. Yeah. So we just put some wash there. There's clouds like mists, atmospheric like that. So this is the also mist in the foreground later. So we just, and the rivers lighter. They might be a little color, green, blue color later. So that's basically the composition, the idea of the composition. Okay. We need to keep the background really light when we do it. Okay. Blot it out a little bit. So that will push it really deep. This we call it high perspective. You see from bottom to the top, and then deep composition is combined of 2 perspectives in Chinese landscape. High perspective, so we can do a scroll. So your eye level actually moves from, when you do the artist, your eye level is here on the bottom. And then when you do the river, eye level is there, right? And the horizon is even higher. Anyway, you move like that. We don't use any drum those days, but the ancient masters designed this kind of majestic landscape. Majestic in Song Dynasty around the first millennium. They call it majestic landscape. It depends from bottom to the peak on the same painting. As if you're using a drawn camera, you can view that, move your eyes. Okay. Any questions on composition and the value or tone contrast between foreground and background? If not, we're going to paint, and some other techniques will be mentioned later. Okay, so let me just put this in the scene. This is we can keep this on the corner, I think. Oops, yeah. All right, now we can use another piece of paper here. I just use pure ink left over from calligraphy class yesterday. Okay. Just black ink. But I'll show you how to load the brush now. I'll just use this palette maybe. Okay, here. I'll use this palette to load the brush. Okay, I have a set of video. I wish I could show you. I don't have time, I think. It's published by Hong Kong 中文大学 somewhere. I don't know. I bought from online from Hong Kong. And it has the process of painting, his landscape painting. He talked about like the principles of host and guest, that kind of general concept and aesthetics. And he never introduced about his brush, what kind of brand or what kind of paint he used. So I have to observe and got all the information passage to here to you. He used a brush like this, a mountain horse brush. We made this brush for another artist, Nanjing school artist, Fu Baoshi, so we named it Fu Baoshi landscape brush. He used this kind of brush. It's quite stiff, but it's very okay. It's meant to use with the split brush, coarse brush stroke, and so you wet the brush. Okay. If you don't have this brush, any brush will do. Just the way he used it is very important. Another trick, almost in every painting he does this, but he never talked about it. That's what, from what I learned from the video. He never showed how he did it, but I saw the result on the painting. It's amazing. And on the other, one day when I was painting outside in the drizzling day, I got the same effect. So I realized that this is so important. On semi-sized paper or mulberry paper especially, because it's so stiff, so dry, so stiff, you want to spray just a pinch of water drops, not wet the painting, not dampen the painting, but put some dots, some sprinkles, like this. I wish it's a little bit rougher. I don't know which bottle he used, but not necessarily a good sprayer. It should be, just like a garden sprayer maybe would do, with very large drops. Or maybe it doesn't matter. Just a little moisture. It's just like drizzling. When I paint outside on the drizzling day, there's some raindrops. This creates the magic of this. And okay, I wet the brush and then I load the brush with some ink, and I will dip a little water again because I don't want it too dark. Okay, then I start to do. Remember which side I started? The main side, right? I could also start from left. Doesn't matter as long as I know the difference. I already studied this. Right? Okay, so let's do the left side, right side first. Then he would use all parts of the brush, not just the tip. Actually, you split it. You make the brush split first. So he would do something like pushing the brush first to make it split. Then use partial split here to outline, to do the contour. But you have to keep that contour in mind. For beginners, if you're not good drawer, you can draw a little contour mark with your fingertip. Just to imagine, or you can just use your mind eye to imagine the rock. The point here is this is off focus foreground. Foreground is off focus. The reason I spray water is to make it blurry. I may spray some more, but you don't want to make it too wet, okay? If it's too wet, you have to use a drier brush. That's all the secret of Lingnan landscape painting. You see, I paint with a dry brush on partially wet paper. That's the trick, yeah. And I concentrate on the contour. I look at the original, and there's a jack there, and so if you look at the opposite side, there's a protruding part there, right? That seems like the game, So now you're in the board game, in the ballpark of the game. So you paint almost like here is the concave or convex, right? Yeah. So you can, and here we have this also this is small concave to echo this. So I don't do painting just the A. If the painting has A, B, and C, I consider them in relation to each other, not isolate, not paint the A without considering the B. So I'm looking at, I paint this side, I'm looking at this side. So there's A, B, C relationship. This B is a little taller than A, right? Can you see that? Another thing is here you see the compression of the side. So this is the front and the side. So this is the side of the rock, right? This is the front. So you cannot do a big surface. What do you call this? Shape on this side. It should be more on this side, right? So you have to follow the principles of perspective, right? Okay, not because I'm looking at the rock from a little bit down, looking up, but I actually don't have to paint the underside of the rock. Just the suggestion of the shady part.
Henry, could you lower the paper a little bit and move it? Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me. Let me just zoom out. At this point, I think you need to see the whole picture.
Yes, this is good.
Thank you. You really don't need to see my brush point. You need to see the composition. In my class, composition counts as 50% in the score system. So if your composition is wrong, no matter how good your brushwork or your technique is, it's not going to work. If you have a good composition, if your technique is just so-so, it will be a good painting still. Understand? So that's so important to make the composition, the proportion right. Okay, now I noticed this side a little bit too, a little broader than the original, but that's okay because my paper is a little broader, a little wider on the horizontal side. So I just make this part a little bit, but I need to caution myself. This is the host. So I want to make this a little broader too, proportionally, and just make sure this is the host. This is the host, okay? So when I do host, I compare to I make sure they are not the same size, not the same weight, okay? It doesn't matter, what brush you use, how you hold the brush, doesn't matter. It just have to treat the mountain like an animal or human figure, portrait. The mountain has a life and has a face, has expression. That you have to be very precise to convey that feel. So, I can. We have terms like the nose of rock, 时准 like a beak of eagle is 准 like a beak. Nose. On the classic textbook Mustard Seed Garden Manual, they call it the nose of the rock. So you want, so your emphasis is on nose of the rock, not putting too much details, because this is remember, if not blurry enough, you can spray some more water. Just let it blur a little bit. Okay.
Henry?
Yeah.
When you mentioned the nose of a rock, is that which part of the rock is it? Can you show us?
Could be the in the middle. Usually where the planes divide. It's separated left and right, something like that. it's not, so you don't take it too literal, but this is usually the more where the most faults or wrinkles occur. Okay, when I talk about rock in the ABC rock ABC class, very beginning class, we put a Y shape. That's or you can do something. It's like a nose, right? So, and we use this the Y to identify that. So this is the nose.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can build on that, and you can divide it. You can divide it. You can divide with Y, lots of Y's. Yeah. If you review my lesson 1 in landscape painting class, I talked about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, now I use dry brush because I don't reload often. When the brush is dry, you use he will use the brush just like that. The heel of the brush, to add this kind of what do we call it? 擦 texture, rubbing, rub. Yeah. So this is to avoid also too harsh to make the paper fuzzy. So you just use the softest part, the not the tip of it, but just put this part, the heel of the brush, touching the paper to add some shading, if you will, just like that. Remember, this is a partial. I call this damp, right? Moist paper, partial moist paper. Okay, so now we have a large, a medium rock here. Now we're going to do a small element. I call it the jumper between the major and minor that connects the two. Okay, here is the entrance of the painting, very important concept. So you need to make the painting look like there's an entry, So this look like a bridge or something. You can walk a flat platform there, and there's turn. So when you go right, you make it left first, right? So there's a sharp turn there, like a sharp turn. So we need to make that. And this part is leveled, level. My student did something. It's not leveled, not stable, so you don't feel that it's secure to paint there. So you want to make this as a comfortable platform. Okay, and this part should be relatively low because we don't have space for all the parts in this sample. We need to adapt to the proportion of our paper. So I will cut off the bottom a little bit. All right, so to make this part really low. Yeah, not too high. If my student did the figure right here, I think. Yeah, it is the focal point, the golden point. But you don't have much room for the majestic feel of the Grand Canyon. So we need to save other space for this special. This is what we call the special arrangement, and special 经营位置 in Chinese. So the composition is not called composition. It's arrangement of negative and positive space or spatial design. It's a design. Yeah, it's a design. So composition design is really crucial. A lot of mistake is made early in this stage. So no matter what you do later, it won't help. If you don't make this correct, okay. See, I just use moisture to and dry brush on partially moist paper to make this like mist. Just fog out. They use the term fog out the foreground, because this off focus is not important for the painting. If you paint every rock on this cliff, it won't really help. Okay. So basically, this is the dark part of the painting, but not all black. Right? This is the darkest on this corner, and some black on this part. We need to make it darker. Yeah, sometimes you have to decide. You got good strokes, good texture. If you want to keep or you want to sacrifice to serve the whole composition, we need to always make this kind of decisions. So, but we today we just try to copy the master. But later, when you do it based on your own photograph or your own real life painting, you need to make this kind of decisions on your own. But today we try to learn the principles of composition by copying this great master of Lingnan. Okay, so his 4 elements of painting landscape: contour, wrinkle, and rubbing, or shading, if you will, all come together. So he might to finish all 4, and the last is the dots. So all 3, 点. Okay, let me call it outline or contour, shaping or shading, texture. Then they wash, right? The color wash or ink wash. Finally, the dots. But you can paint off all the elements all together. Right now, because it's time to do the trees, I'm going to do the dots. So I just use pure ink. Okay, let me enlarge this part so you can see some details on that. And there's dark and the light relationship. So we just do dark on this main tree. Notice the tree is bending downward, pointing to the focal point down below the artist. So this assume is kind of cypress or pine tree on the edge of the cliff with the bending branch, maybe an old trunk or something. You don't have to really dry brush. The secret for detail is dry brush. I need to do a little bit detail kind of, and the arm stretched down, pointing to the focal point. So there's always a direction with this kind of stroke. Yeah, just don't just dot straight down without thinking about how to guide the viewer. And here we have some kind of dark. Then we will just do some dry brush, just rough split brush maybe. And before it gets dry, you can use let me just use another brush, whatever brush. Just add some water to blur it, to make it softer. And you can use color actually. you can just use that's a green indigo color, right? So let me put some indigo here. Oh, I got some here from the dry tube. Let me just use it. And then I mix a little color with green, blue color with some ink to mute it. So just add some color there. So this is called the breaking technique. Breaking the ink with color. You know, you always or wet into wet, to put it simply. Sometimes we need to, because it's off focus, you want to make it soft, right? That's how we do it. We just paint when it's still wet. And since I have the blue, I just add this blue to the other side. That has the same color, but this one has it might have some vegetation on top plan. We don't see that because we're under the rock. Okay.
Henry, could you lower the paper again a little bit? Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So this is a blue color on top, and this blue a little. Here's the technical concept. We call it. When you have a blue sky, you want some blue on other part, right? So it's a concentrate or gathering and disperse, and then extension. So you just exhaust that. You disperse. That's the pure blue. Then you just disperse and exhaust the brush. So that's concentration, extension, disperse and extend. Okay. Let me show you. Okay, so from this close-up view, you can see all the colors are basically warm. There are some greens on the bottom. It's a decision now we need to make if you want the ink effect to set before we add color, or you want everything more blurry. That's a big question. Excuse me. We got a very sudden temperature drop, like 20 degrees. This is back to winter time. So now I'm getting warm again. Anyway, it's a strange weather here. Okay. Let me just, I think it's a phthalo blue. It's kind of strong, but that's the same blue he used. We have phthalo blue in our supply, right? So you can just use that, but it's too strong. I'll mute it. I think this may have to do with the digital photograph. It couldn't be that strong, but Cantonese school is known for strong colors. So you probably, yeah, that's okay. Okay, this part should be a little what we call xu, misty or fog or void. So you don't want to make it too dark, although it looks so dark in the whole painting, but it's not pure black, right? So I think we need a little bit white there, very very subtle white. So I will let it dry, because if I wash it now, it will become a dead block of dark. So I want to maybe wait a bit. I can even put some light with the mineral blue later to bring back some lightness if I need. So anyway, so I'm going to do the background now. So it's just timing. You know, if you do it with wet into wet, you might destroy the ink, which is not the classical way. The Cantonese school, in United school, they have a very clear ink bone compared, as a base and their painting before they do vibrant colors. So you need to maybe wait it dry. So if you do, unless you want to create a really misty effect here. Anyway, I'm going to do the background, use a smaller brush, the stiff brush, basic stiff brush maybe. And you can see, let me zoom out. It's very light. If this is 8, 9 value dark, this is probably 2 or 3. It's better to do lighter than you expect. Then you can always darken it. You can always add dark. You cannot reduce it if it's too dark, right? Here we need to make a river. Proportionally, Colorado River is kind of it's not like a Yangtze River, so it's relatively narrow. And this is upper range of the river. It's not in like California or somewhere they become lighter. Like I mentioned earlier, see this parallel here, we have a slant right here, a slant, and then this slant almost echo this one. So we just not exactly repeat, I will use the word echo, yeah. So this first turn is about half of the paper, maybe a little lower than half. So this is the half. I making sure it's not, okay, sorry. See, this painting has a potential mistake. This river may be too high. It could be, so you don't have room for the sky. Understand? So make sure the river is not too high. Okay, let me just do this part, maybe it's easier. So I'm going to make, we call this opening and closing, the V, the V shape formations. So let's just do, this is the easier side. We just do a line that approximately pointing to the area above the painter. So it's about there. You could use a dotted line if you're not sure. Okay, and go slow if you want. Okay, now we have very narrow paths here. That's define the river and then become broader. So this is the lowest cliff right above the water, and then a slant, and then second stage. The Grand Canyon is from our experience, life experience. I feel it's like a wedding cake. It has layers and with horizontal layers like that, like a chocolate inside the cake, just like that, and some slope. Okay. Almost parallel to this, but not exactly. It could be a little straighter. It could be just like that. And okay, so remember the dimension in perspective is getting narrower. The intervals, the distance between each slope is getting narrower, squeezed, right? Because the perspective, the special perspective, linear perspective, what they call this, whatever. The Western concept of perspective applies here. So this side is a curve, but you want to make it several steps. That's what I'm doing. I want to emphasize on this. So it's not round curve. It's leveled steps. Leveled steps. Yeah, so that's the key. So the river is more stable, not like vertical. You know, the river is more horizontal somehow. Okay, now I'm going to do this turn. So the river is not like just a lazy S shape. You know, if you draw a childish painting of Grand Canyon, what they do was just do like this is the river, right? And this is the mountain. You know, this is the mountain. So this is we actually as adult painting we do things like this. You see what I mean? So this edge is more angular, and leveled. Okay, if you look at the sample here, and you need to vary each section. Some squeezed, some. I mean, generally speaking, it become. This is like a broad, medium, and a small. So each turn, what they call, each layer, each opening and closing pair, something, you know, it become closer. And I add more water when I do distant. Now the horizontal, this should be really narrow, so I still have space for another one. So this goes up, goes there. That's a little cake top, flat. That's about it. Okay, now I can close that turn. It's the sharp turn. It could be turn left or right. Let's just keep a little bit, maybe lean to the left or pointing to the. So I can shade that area with light ink and shade here. So you don't need to really copy. You have to understand the opening and closing idea. So this is like building a model of the park, the national park, with the sand, you know. So just keep that characteristic. The flat top is very different than the other canyons I've been, like the Yangtze River. Oh, speaking of Yangtze River, I need to show you my early work. Okay, let me see if I can find that. Okay, here. Let me close this one. If you want to compare, this is the Yangtze River Three Gorge before they built the dam. I was there early 80s, like 1980. They built one dam already, not three. They raised the river like 100 meters, flat all the ancient cities around there. So basically, they just now the river is at the level of this cloud, almost. Yeah. Anyway, that's the Yangtze River Gorge before the great dams in Yichang. Or this is the Yangtze River Gorge, and the foreground you can see is very fogged. And I invited my mother-in-law, Professor Chen, wrote a poetry by Li Po on the left. Now this is the Grand Canyon I did earlier on YouTube. You can see the process on YouTube. It was published in Hong Kong, Chinese Chinese magazine. There, and this is Columbia Gorge we did in Oregon on site. The brushwork is done by a split brush made of feather, chicken feather, a rooster feather. Yeah. This is contemporary artist Wu Guanzhong's Grand Canyon. He's oil painter, studied in France. Wu Guanzhong's Grand Canyon. Okay, this is the picture of Grand Canyon that yeah, this is what we're going to do. So you want to take a look of the real picture here. This is yeah, I think this is against the light, almost the light we're doing from backlit. Yeah. So it's pretty dark shaded on the right. And yeah, this is a Photoshop rendition of the oil painting, same picture. Okay, and here's the color scheme we're going to do. The warm color near in the foreground, and the cool color getting bluer in the distance. But not so complicated. We'll just simplify it into maybe just two colors, front and back. Okay, this is some drawing from the Western painting, some oil painting. Okay, anyway, let's back to the Lingnan's painting. So we need to add all the ink textures before we do the wash. And at this point, we can use I'm back to the football shoe, rough bristle brush. I have to really clean the brush because it was dark when I do the foreground. This is the foreground brush. So if you have used one brush, you need to change tone by washing. So I just put a dark dots there. That's a mistake. So if you see, if I got too dark, I have to use water first, and then we use the tissue to blot it. If it doesn't work, I have to use opaque color later to cover it. But that's not very. I think it's okay. I think there's some dark there. That's why I started from this part. Okay, so I'll just keep it light from now on. So some more details in this maybe middle ground, but it's the same tone, maybe even lighter, because we want to really push it back. That's a little shade there under some cliff, then we'll see a cliff right there. So this kind of close the opening here. This is the create a V kind of formation for the river. All right, so we use the dry brush basically. I think it's small brush really help with the distance. You want to make sure the not only light but the line is also narrower, and yeah, just to show this kind of distance. So identify the nose. Here is a nose, right? It looks like a nose on this, but you don't need to put too much detail in the distance. As long as light is okay. Don't overdo it. Overdoing things is like when you paint a building, there's the zillions of windows. You only do 3. Yeah, right. So just simplify things. That's called less is more. Yeah. And just let the viewers' imagination to fill in the rest. So you just suggest, because our paper is much smaller than the original painting. I don't know how large is the original, so we will reduce some details, and also because our time is limited, so we just do do some. So there's some cliff on the top, just like some platform. So you just try to build a pattern. A pattern is random in natural. It's by chance, It's formed, and when our brain discovered this kind of pattern by chance, and then the painter would use this pattern to recreate the chance of beauty through pattern. That's a little bit mouthful, but think about this. The pattern was not really in natural. The line, doesn't exist, right? People invented it in painting, and with some kind of pattern. So we learn the strokes, the pattern, the style. We have different texture, shading styles in classical painting. We learned before, like a X cut. So if you follow the pattern, and you have more chance to create beauty of art. Yeah, that's the paradox. So we go from you have to the principle of shaping is you put the shaping or shading lines outside the contour, not on both sides. So you create the yin and yang, the contrast between dark and the light. Okay, so if you do it on the lower part, it's okay. Not do it on the top side, on the same contour. So you just do one side, the outside, and that squeeze out the light. Dark against light. That what they call basically yin and yang contrast. Okay. Just dry brush to harmonize a little bit, or you can use water to soften them. But I leave a lot of white because we don't use white paint. We have to save them. Just darken the. Don't ask me where the direction of the light is. I will say on top. So it's diffuse light. Maybe a cloudy day like today here in early morning here, got very cloudy. Diffuse the light. Yeah. So far, I hope your painting still look right in terms of value. The ink in the background should be light, right? Okay, very light. All right, and let it dry. I'll do this figure here. We use a little bit. Oh, remember to zoom out. You can use a detail brush, the leaf wing brush, the small detail brush. I'll use pure ink, maybe not so pure, but it's okay, I think. There's the person wearing a hat, and looking to the right, up to the street maybe. So I'll put we just do the shade, the round, the half of the top, and then the bottom, and then just leave an opening on the top. That's it, and just do a triangular shape for the body, and just put a little shadow for the hip. That's it, and you might, maybe put a little line to suggest the palette. I mean the easel or something, but don't have to. Just like that. It's fine. Sitting at the edge of the cliff. Okay. And let it dry before you wash any color. Like I put a little yellow on the hat or something. And now I'm going to. It's almost dry, but not really. I'm going to wash the rock anyway. So you can use a soft brush, like the sheep or goat hair brush. Let's do the brown now. Usually it goes from cool to light. It's from shady to highlight. Let's see if this is still working. So I'll continue with the blue first. So I'll put some blue in the shady area first. Okay. Remember the water is our best friend. Just spray some water. And later I will wet the whole thing, but I don't want to blur the lines. So just put some shady part there. Just here. Okay, now I'm going to change the. It's too dark. Change the temperature. Okay. I got some Western paints here, burnt sienna, which is very reddish color, very strong. I think it's better than the Chinese umber. You can use that compared to this. Okay, let me see. The umber is dried. Okay, here. The tube umber actually is more reddish. The chip is more subdued. It's more like a soil. Okay, this is the number 684. You can use that. I just mix with a little burnt sienna. And you can add some yellow. I think there's yellow there. Yeah, some yellow if you want to lighten it on top. So just put just some yellow. I put the color on the edge, and then I use the bottom for blending, I think. So you can use a little yellow if you want. That's for this highlight area, I think. Yeah, there's some yellow there, some yellow there, around the edge, and you can put some yellow there. So like my light part goes first. I leave some white, just yeah, to make it very subtle. You can just use water later to the edge. So I leave some space so the color does not smear to the air, into the air. So just paint this part. I got some burnt sienna. Red. Very red. That's probably what they use. But you can use some vermilion or red add to it, to make it more reddish. That's the foreground. All right, and then just continue. I would add little. It could be a little ink there, so just mute it. See, this is don't have to be pure color all the way. Okay, that's the shady part, and then put some yellow back to the light. Mute it with some ink. And just put a lot of colors so we don't have to remix. Okay. Okay. This part, yeah, just take it easy. Just just overall wash. You already got the black and white value work, right? I assume. So if you put color, like the thick color on the ink, you will make it subdued. Don't use pure color. Add lots of water. You don't have to use, the colorful painting doesn't have to use pure colors. Keep it semi-translucent so the ink is not covered. Unless you want to make it like a foggy or chalky even. Okay. And you can mix a little blue with brown to make it gray. Gray, yeah, like that. So if you want to mute it, you can use more blue. Okay. This the most difficult, for common for viewer, they think the color is most important, right? In a painting. So actually, the composition and ink work is more important than the coloring. Coloring just a child can do. You don't have to really. It's just monotone. I don't really care about too much differentiation of tone or as long as you have red, blue, and yellow, it should work. Yeah, so this is red here. This is what we call the middle. What do you call this in the Western sense? I think the mid value. Mid value is most colorful. The gray area. In Western painting, the gray area, which is between dark and light, is the rainbow zone, the most colorful zone. So gray is not gray; it's more colorful than dark and light. Than that in Western painting. Okay, the color will dry lighter, just like watercolor. However, after you mount it, it will come back. So, so what you see when it's wet is what you get after mounting, usually. Okay. So basically, this part is warm. The distance is cool, right? Yeah. Okay, let's put a little cool down there here for the shady part, and here is the soft part. We need to use water to create a mist now. I think now it's okay. I think not 100% dry, but it's fine. I'm going to wet the whole thing now so you can see better. So I'm going to spray some water along the river. This is the most important. If you want to keep somewhere white from color, prevent color from bleeding, you can use a clean brush if you want. Just wet the whole river area. Later we'll color it, right? but it makes sure that's completely wet. And then the sky is wet. Okay. And something in between is okay, it's half wet, moist. See the color start to bleed in. That's okay. I like that. It creates some movement. The color really could have some energy kind of. This color on the back also has the warm and the cool. Let me see what I got. I got a mix of both. I think it's okay. It doesn't matter really, as long as you have the light and the dark contrast. So I'll leave some white still, but this generally is painted. The river is lighter. I think it will be blue. All right. So I'll just use. Let me do the blue first. Then we'll add some warm. If needed, some yellowish brown or something like that. So I just add some. We can mute the blue with a little brown, or you can use ink. Ink is a richer, more subdued tone to add. So you make the blue more quieter, make the blue quieter. To quiet it down or calm down. Okay. If you use pure blue, it's like this. We may need a little bit in the distance. Let's see. Oh, this is correct. It's too dark. Add some water, but it would lighten. It would be lightened later. Okay, that's the top of the cliff with vegetation. So you can just paint like a horizontal. That's for the plateau, the top of the cliff of the canyon. Okay. And then this is still dry. And that's good. I think it's important to have some control. So this is I still leave a little white. You know why? I want to suggest some mist. Yeah. So I just leave a little strips like horizontal white. Then I'll use the clean water. I'll just spray some water, let it bleed. Okay. Let the water do the walk for you in watercolor. The shady part is bluer. That's blue. And some blue here. I want to use blue contrast with the warm here. Okay, and you can just there's some white. It's okay. And just that's about it. I just used the same blue, maybe a little bit yellow to make it green. I think the river is kind of like a jade, but you don't have to. I think the blue color looks cleaner. So let me see. Is there yellow in the? Sometimes when I think yellow, I see the yellow. If you don't see the yellow, you don't sense it. Can you tell what color is there? I think the river actually is a jade, dark jade, but we don't do that. With the reflection of the sky is blue. Yeah, just do the blue. I think it's fine. Theoretically, rationally, we choose the color, sky color, for this. So I'm going to wash the sky first. So that's the concentration in the horizon area. We're going to wash. I think we should have some. I just eliminate the strip should be a little warmer. Anyway, so I'm going to do the horizon. Oops. Just like that. I just bring all the way to the top with a very soft wash. And you can leave some space. It's just white, yeah. It should be very, very light. I'll just wash the whole thing. Okay. I think the cliff looks lighter than the river. Anyway. I think we don't use pure blue here. We need to mute it. Just some gray. It's fine. And I just, because this is wet, right? So I'm going to just go with one stroke. Basically, just go all the way, rolling the brush. And here a little bit. And around the figure, there's more white. We need to contrast with that. Okay, and you can have some color. Actually, the figure is is in white shirt, so I just wash the whole thing around him into gray, and that will contrast. It will create the white I need there. Okay, and you can now bring out the color. And I need to put a little warmer color back to the light area there, but not so strong like the front. Just very diluted yellow brown kind of dry brush, just very dry. At first, it might look arbitrary. Then you use some overall wash to harmonize it, I think. So at first, they might be just strokes of color, and then if you don't like, you can always soften it. So I just use large, brush, just sweeping horizontally for the cliff, white cliff. Okay. All right. Professor Ao always use white very cleverly to cover the light. If you need, he would use very diluted white to create mist and clouds. We don't have to do that if you already have the effect. But I can show you if needed. Sometimes I do it on the back, as you know from that class. So just eliminate unwanted white. Okay. For some reason he has some white on this rock. I don't know if that's necessary. We'll certainly use dark to reinstate some part. So maybe they'll bring out some light later. So that's about it. The final touch on the figure, I think you can wash the head with a little yellow. That's about it, I think. Or with a little brown yellow to blend in with the environment. just a little bit. You don't have to paint the color of the skin or anything you don't really see, but you can highlight the clouds with a little bit warm, just around a little bit to foil out the white shirt. You can use gray, blue also, just a little bit, yeah, to create a little shadow or something. But it turns to blue. That's okay. You can paint it with blue if you like, or red, whatever, to make it a lady. So that's about it. Let me see what it looks from the. Actually, you see better on the screen, better than me. So this is a little too pure blue. So I add a little. You can use a little gray to mute it. Just mute the color a little bit. Dry brush with a little gray ink to add some texture. Sometimes suggest trees, bushes, but this is in the distance, so not really much detail needed. You want to keep it really simple. The eye of the viewer will interpret them. It might require repeated wash up to 7 or 10 times. You know, traditionally they do that with multiple layers of wash. Instead of just the one single wash, this is the original design concept. I wish we got the point to work. I think some part, you know, now it's time to think rationally sometimes, but you need to avoid overworking again, just to keep the initial feeling, you know, very important, not to destroy that as you entering the final stage of working with edges and last touches, that kind of thing. Just be careful not to overwork. Okay, any questions? Let me see how you're doing. If anybody.
So I am going to unmute people now, right, Henry?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Shall we just start picking people as work? If you want to show your work, please hold it in front of you, facing the lens. I'll pick a few people to spotlight. I see Florence going to spotlight right now. I'm looking. Can you see Florence now?
Yeah, I can see. Okay. Maybe you can replace my.
Oh yeah. Okay, you are so right. Remove spotlight. Yes.
Okay. Now we can see it.
I see Yolande. I'm going to spotlight.
Florence. I see Florence first. Maybe I should.
Yes, yeah, and then you follow. I'm gonna spotlight a few people. Then you could do one by one. Okay.
Again, as I precaution, you know, the composition is really a big issue. With Florence, your river is so big, it become a lake. So your composition has some problems, I would say. Just the river is so narrow, you know, here in the original, but yours tends to be like a lake. It's okay if you call it, you know, a mountain lake. The painting itself is okay. Just to let you know, this kind of issue needs to be careful with that. The level of the river should be lower if you want to, and the left side bank is really good with the zigzag kind of rhythm. Just to bring out this curve, this C or S shaped curve would be good. So yeah, you can finish this and just make the water into a lake. I think you can put some lake color there, green or blue jade color. It will be nice painting. Yeah. Okay. Your rock is very realistic. I like it's like oil painting. I had a painting look like that. Believe it or not. Let me show you. Can you see my painting? See that I use the color many to do the front, just like yours. I like yours. It's a very three-dimensional. Yeah, I like the contrast between foreground and background in your painting. Your red cross artist looks great. It could be.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you. Yeah, very good. I like the negative shape, the carved the shape. Beautiful sky. I mean, opening window, stage, whatever it call. It's nice. Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
So I'm just
if your composition is right, you got an A most likely. Okay.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yeah. Marian Flashy. Okay. Well, yeah, I see that you have a very good composition. I say with low perspective, so you see the river almost from the river down the bottom of the gorge.
I'm not seeing hers.
I'm looking at Marian. There are four people on the. Okay, this maybe we can just focus on one by one.
One by one?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe two. How about that? Because
two is fine. Yes, actually four is okay, but they might have to hold the painting for too long.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Yeah. So Marian, yeah, this on my left on the screen. Yeah, it's good.
I'm only seeing Henry's setup. I'm only seeing Henry and Henry's painting.
You need to turn to speaker view.
Speaker view.
Speaker view. Yeah.
And so that brings me to you. Is everybody else seeing that?
Let me. Okay, sorry. Okay. Should I go to? So Marian, you have Marian has another painting showing us. Oh, yeah, that's the same painting. Okay. Very nice. I think you have a more like traditional gorge kind of painting, not necessarily a Grand Canyon, but it's a nice gorge painting. I think it's nice compositionally. The distant mountain could be a little complete on the left, taller side. Maybe you can even create a more remote mountain in the back to, just like the painting I did with the Yangtze River. If you see that, okay, let me show you my.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just like this painting, you can copy that. Yeah. Okay. The painting I'm looking at, how do you pronounce JCB? JC, I just call you JC. Yeah. You can unmute yourself, JC. All right. Yeah, your painting is very close to the original. I think you got a very very good composition, very close
Nice.
to the master copy we're doing. The foreground could be even a little darker to contrast with the back. Yeah,
Yeah,
the bottom
Yeah.
part, yeah, especially.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
Too
frame
nice.
it a little more, but you got a very nice beginning. It's
Thank
already
you.
good, but if you want to be more dramatic, you can create more shape, just
More
shape up,
contrast.
the front a little more.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Okay, thanks, Henry.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Lower iPhone. What is the
Romyard.
Romyard. Ramelt, wow, very powerful. I like the angular stones, rocks, very squarish, very muscular, very good. I like
Thank
it.
you.
You got an A.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah, you have your own interpretation. Perfect. Stephanie from Mexico. Nice to see you again. Okay, you can unmute yourself. Okay, you can unmute. Yeah, ask for unmute. I don't know. Ask for unmute. You can unmute yourself.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, you got a mirrored image from the original, and that's very smart. Look like oh, you didn't, but it looked like mirrored somehow. Okay, interesting. Yeah, this is very Grand Canyon look. I like the kind of barren feel of that. Very rocky, sharp, squarish rocks. Very nice. Very good. Yeah, the front could be a little leveled. Like I said, try to lower your eye level when you paint the lower front. Just to make it leveled on the bottom part.
Okay.
So you will not flip how do you say, kind of unstable. You know what I mean? Try to stabilize it. If you have a more leveled rock in the foreground, it will anchor the painting better.
Okay. Thank
Next
you.
time, yeah. Maybe you can still change it. I'm not sure, but that's my suggestion for improvement. Terry using a very nice paper, sparkled paper, or did the sparkle on splatter on it? I'm not sure. Okay, you have the snowflakes in the paper. Okay, good. Yeah, I like that. I like the we call splash ink technique or pouring ink technique. Because of that, it's hard to control where it goes, right? So the river it become like pockets of water, but that's really nice by itself. As painting itself, it's good. I think I like everything in this painting. There's nothing wrong with that. With a dried canyon, maybe we can see the rocks. Yeah.
This is Barbara. Henry, this is Barbara. It's
Barbara.
my husband's iPad, Terry.
Oh,
Anyway,
Barbara.
I lost the white river in the middle.
Oh, okay. But like I said, it's okay. You can call it just a dry season and canyon. Yeah.
Okay.
Black Canyon is like that. There's no water in Colorado. I showed in the Auburn visit. It's like that. It could be Black Canyon in Colorado.
Okay.
Just call it Black Canyon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Okay, Donna, Diana, Diana's painting very nice. Your foreground is a little bigger. It's okay. But if you make the platform a little smaller by just narrow it,
Yes.
it will be more proportional, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the platform is like big parking lot. it could be just narrower. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Everything else is fine. Okay.
Yes, me.
Rosemary. Oh,
Thank you.
I
Yes.
like the major cliff versus the minor kind of relation is very clear cut.
Bring this up more.
Yeah, I think that's very good. You didn't make the front so dark. That's your interpretation. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it works. I can feel the aerial perspective. Yeah, again, I think also the foreground could be a little smaller, so that cliff because this left side feels like a little too big, I think. So if you make this more leveled, the red part, maybe just cover the red the upper portion with some blue, it will work. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Betty Padilla, also please.
Okay, here I have, how do you say your name? Federico?
Yes, mine.
Federico's painting, very 3D kind of, very very good, almost like 3D. Yeah, very pop. It pops. Yeah, it's interesting. It has something like snow covered on your plateau in the background. It looks like a,
Yes, I leave more white than the original.
yeah, but that's okay. It looks like if you want, you can put some green on the plateau, on the flat plane above the cliff. That you could make it a little more natural if you want. But this looks nice. Somehow I think you can call it winter in the Grand Canyon. I have a snow scene. Do you want to see? That may look like that. They see this picture here on my screen. Can you see it? You see that white cloth, something like what you did, right, in the bottom.
Yeah.
And you see this white covered mountain in the foreground. Yeah, that's what you can do. There's a white cloth on above the cliff. That's what you got. So you don't have to change anything. Just like that. You see? Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
I think you got an A for composition.
Thank you.
Susan. Susan, your daughter is in my class. I think, is that Meng?
Yes, she is.
So you are in California?
No, I'm in Kentucky.
Oh, you're in
She's
Kentucky?
in Hawaii.
She's in Hawaii. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, she talked about you, so that's why I remember your name, your last name, same. With what's your daughter's name? I forgot. Anyway.
Alyssa.
Okay, Alyssa. Yeah, she's very nice student in my regular class, and she mentioned you are in this class. Glad to see your painting today. Yeah, I like the V opening, wide opening of the V, and you can have some vegetation a little more on top, maybe on the left side, on the right side. Yeah, maybe a little taller with the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all I will suggest. Very good. I like the foreground, the entrance, very nice proportionally. Yeah, very good. Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ben. Oh.
Ben. Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
You have a very nice composition, and your foreground and background integrated. That's a good interpretation. You don't have to make the contrast as in the original. If your light is from behind you, you see something like this. See, it's all lit up. I like it. I like the contrast between the warm foreground with the cool sky and the distant mountains. Just nice. Yeah. The foreground rock could be a little more detailed and a little leveled again. So it's more
like
stable.
here.
Yeah, this part is the most difficult part. Just to make it a little stabilized, not so. It's good. Actually, it's not too bad with that. You can darken the upper part, maybe a little, integrate this, so it will bring the whole piece more vertical on the left, on the right. Yeah, just this part, like I'm painting my painting this part. Just make this part like a whole vertical cliff on the, at least to make the right side darker, to make like the main. That's where you're standing, the side you're standing on. Yeah, just make right side a little heavier, maybe, bring them together, just integrate a little bit. I think, yeah, especially this middle part of the right cliff could be a little darker, same as the lower part of that.
Right cliff, you mean like here?
No, just on the side, the very close up one. Yeah, just the right, on your right. Just break the edge, bring the dark, all the way on in the middle, and the top part should be darker.
Okay.
Just the front rock. Just look at the original. Yeah, you will see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
And Sharon, next to Sharon. Okay. Yeah. So your ink works very nice. The ink work. Yeah. So if you prefer, you can add more warm color on the foreground. And just to bring more color.
Okay.
I think proportionally somehow the head of this rock on the your right side could be a little a little larger. So this triangle is more proportional. The head of this piece a little small on the main rock. It could be more.
This side.
Yeah, you can have that curve still. So you can bring this part, even the middle part, more out. So just carve a little in the middle somehow. So this piece, it's like too heavy a little heavier on the bottom. That's a very common mistake because most people try to do the foreground rock too big. Yeah.
Okay,
including
thanks.
myself. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Laurie, wonderful. See you. Okay, you have very 写意 kind of one-stroke approach for the river. Just very nice abstraction. The darks and light contrast. Yeah. Just bring that dark a little, spread a little bit. You have a gathering, like I said, disperse. You want to disperse that dark a little bit and extend a little bit. So it's not just one large. You need to have middle and a small. You can have some on the left, some more on the left to balance that. Just the dark. Put some more darks. And then consider the A-B-C relationship I mentioned. Now you have A, maybe a little B on the left side. You need to make them more related, more into a pattern of a rhythm, of ABC. Just the darks should be a little related to each other. Yeah. And expand a little bit, extend and disperse a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Rhonda. Very nice line work. I see the prototype of the river. Yeah, like I said, the bank should not always like a curve. You need to create the force and some behind, something zigzag. Like steps. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
On the left. The right is correct. That corner is right. The left side should be more like steps. Yeah. The foreground could be consolidated into one, like the frame. I don't know what's the term. On the stage you have these two pieces of curtain. What that called? Like a gate. The opening. It's like an opening of the stage, yeah. So
right,
left and right is your frame, yeah. It should be more defined, and the negative shape is important. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you,
Catherine. Thank you, Rhonda. Catherine, your painting. Okay, can you pull back a little bit the foreground? I can see. Okay, now I can see. Yeah, you need to paint all the way down to the edge. So yeah, if you don't stream it out to the bottom, it looks even more too large with the lower piece of the rock. So when you begin, you make sure you start from outside the frame and make use of all the paper so you don't waste any space for your skies and other things in the foreground. So I think that's not uncommon. Everybody make the foreground larger. This is how our eye sees things. The foreground is largest, but not necessarily make it smaller. Should always good idea. Okay. Other than that, I think the river has a very large front. You want to try to make it consistent with its perspective. So the middle part is not so rounded. You can make some peninsulas from sticking out. To break that curve with some steps.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
So Henry, I wanted to tell you I was born near the Grand Canyon. I was born in Arizona.
Oh.
So thank you for
Thank
this
you.
Grand Canyon art
Memory.
today. I appreciate
It's
it.
your whole memory thing. Very nice.
Yeah.
I like the color, the earthy color, and the red. Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. I love the Garden of Gods in Colorado, red rocks, and then the Sedona also. That's the
Yeah, my
color.
mother always used to say if you get Arizona sand in your shoes, you will always return.
Yeah, you put that red sand color more on your painting.
Yes,
Yeah,
I will.
You need more pink rocks in that painting. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Alisa, I just spoke with your mother.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. I love the tonal contrast between foreground and background. Beautiful. Yeah. Very
Thank you.
powerful painting. Yeah, very good. I like it. Yeah. Thank you. Very, very nice. So you use the sized paper? It looks like a sized paper.
Semi-sized. I just had another piece
semi-sized.
behind it.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Semi-sized with another piece behind it, so it was easier to see.
Yeah, you got everything works. Okay. Betty.
Yes.
Nice meeting you here. Okay. I see your painting is done on regular watercolor paper or pad.
No, this is a notebook that I made with paper for calligraphy. So I have all my practices here.
You made a rice paper pad. Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a special for don't lose don't have many papers everywhere. So I have this for my practices.
Okay. Yeah, very good, nice.
Beautiful.
It's like tunnel composition, O shape. Yeah, very good.
I'm a little bit sad because I think I have problem with the shape of the rocks and the cliffs.
Yeah.
I don't know how to practice it.
Just remember the perspective is from I think if you review the first class, we talked about the rock. It's like the large in front, and then it covers the back, overlapping with each other. So when you go from close from near to far, you become narrower. So just
the first
remember,
class of this course.
Yeah, this class, right. So
okay,
just to make sure the first one is wider than the second one, then the third one, and become narrower. That's it. And you can vary
that very difficult.
Yeah, you can vary later. You vary the angle a little bit. Just to make some angular change, because in Grand Canyon has this kind of steps. It's like a wedding cake, right? That kind of large pyramid shape. So you can make several. I didn't make it clear on this side, but you can see some here, right? This kind of line. So just vary the steps and then put some horizontal in the middle. It will be fine.
Do you think it's a good idea that no matter that now it's just finally I don't know if I overwork it, if I try to do better deadlines?
I don't think that line is a problem at all. You don't look at the whole painting.
The shape of the river.
Yeah, the shape of the river has some issues like you need to have some like the steps I talked about. Yeah.
Okay.
Oops, my color is too dark. I made a dark line there, so you can see.
Well, thanks. In the screen looks more hard the colors that we have in the real.
You are just a devil today. You're a little devil today.
Sorry, you have to mute yourself if you not speak. So, Patty, thank you. I will go on.
Well, thank you very much to you, Henry. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay.
Henry, it's 3:16 already.
Yeah, we need to complete. Maybe how many people?
Okay, so this will be the last one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sure, Darcy, you're the last. Yeah, I think you got the essence of that Grand Canyon with the cake formation, like the cliff. Yeah, very nice. So your opening is the river itself. That's nice. That's a smart interpretation of. It's a very logical interpretation. So the opening itself is the river. Very creative. Yeah, just add a little vegetation on the main piece, maybe on top of your your cliff. Just
more.
Just a little bit tree. You can have a single tree, like something, make it standing out, so it will defined as a main major piece in the painting with the tree on top. We call that.
I was thinking to put a raft on the river.
Pardon me. What's your question?
I was thinking I was going to put a little raft on the river.
Raft, like a boat, like a,
a little boat.
Like a rafting people with rubber rafting. Okay, yeah, that's
maybe up in here somewhere, real small.
Right, rafting. Yeah, I used to do that in Colorado. Whitewater.
I did the little guy, but you can hardly see him. His hat's very small.
Do some activity on the river is better than the guy on the cliff. Yeah,
on the rock.
On the rock. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Creative. Thank you very much. It was a great lesson.
Thank you.
Do you have time for this? This is Brenda. Do you have time? Just a little time or no?
Okay. Just 1 minute. Brenda.
If not, that's
I'll give you A right now. It's you have no just the corner, the left, the right corner could be a little smaller, and if you trim out the right a little bit, maybe it will work even better. Yeah.
Over here?
No, the right side. I'm sorry.
This side.
Yeah,
the left
side.
side.
Yeah, just the trim off and this. Right, it might look
okay.
Because this part is the foreground. I think
this
a general problem we all have when we begin to paint landscape is to paint the foreground too high.
In the low.
Yeah, keep the low because that's a common. You can trim off the bottom also, so that will make it. You can trim like 2 inches off the bottom and then 1 inch half. On the right, yeah, that will work. To make it back to the original, just compared to the original painting.
You mean 1 inch off this side?
1 inch, off the right side, and then 2 inches off the bottom. You will.
And 2 inch off the bottom.
Yeah, you will make it.
This seems really big to me. This is like
I understand. That's what I suggest.
Looks like a giant L shape. So I'm not taking off anything right here.
Just cut it off. Yeah.
Cut off this side?
Yeah, cut off the side on that. Cut off like 1 inch. You can go slow. You can cut 1 inch. If it's not enough, you can cut another inch. And the bottom you can cut off like 2 inch, 1.5 inch. Yeah, a little lower. Right there. Right, something like that.
There,
that's the one. You can cut a little. Right. You could go slow. You just fold it. You can just fold it. You don't have to cut. Just fold it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I think that's all for today. We'll do ocean or seascape next time. It's new to me, but I will try. We have an experience in Hawaii several years ago, so I will do some palm trees with ocean next time. See you next week, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you.